Hey friends, we're about to go on vacation, but before we do that, I really want to harvest the garlic scapes before we go on vacation because what if they flower while I'm gone? You know, we'll be gone for 5 days. So I want to do it before we go, not when we get back when it's too late. Because if you let the scape flower, it focuses more on flowering and less on bulb size and bulb development. Grow and get a decent size, and then before they flower, harvest them, and then the plant will start focusing back on bulb development because I want big fat bulbs. You know what I'm saying? So let's do that. Then I'll probably put the GoPro on my head so you can see real close. Once we harvest them, we're going to take them inside and process them to where they're really easy to use. And it was a lifesaver because I ran out of regular garlic in the freezer from last year, and I used all the garlic powder, and then I was like, oh yes, I found a bag of garlic scapes hiding in the freezer. I'm not out yet, so I haven't had to buy garlic, which is great to have a whole year supply of real good garlic instead of the store crap. Look at this scape though. Wow. And this one? Some of these are huge. This is gonna be great. It's a double harvest because my nails are dirty because I've already been out here doing stuff. So it's a double harvest because hardneck, which is what this is, will give you the scape and the bulb. So 2 for 1. Definitely worth it to do hardneck in my opinion. So let's do it. We're gonna put our gloves on because garlic scapes are very, very potent, just like working with regular garlic. And prune at the base where the garlic scape comes out, and just grab a handful, and then we'll fold them to kind of fit in that bowl like that, and collect all of them. And they really blend in. They're super hard to find. So I actually found 3 more later after this day that I was like, oh, you were hiding. So I didn't have time to deal with these before vacation, so I stuck them in the freezer, and now that we're back from vacation, we are dealing with them. Now do not put the whole scape in the blenders. It doesn't work. I got 3 blenders going here, and it does not work well, and you'll see why. First of all, it doesn't like it, and so I can't even keep the blender from moving around on the counter. And this is why. Look at the blade. It's all wrapped around the blade. And what we need to do is just cut this into smaller pieces. So right now I am showing you what doesn't work well, and then in a few seconds you'll see like the best way that like made it so much easier. I've only had garlic scapes for 2 years, last year and this year, so I've only done this once before, and then it was a year ago. So I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I probably should cut it up like I did last year. So we get everything unwound from that blade, and I try putting some into this blender too. Try to have 3 going. That way this can be a fast, expedited process. And it's wound around that blade down there too, and I can't get it unwound because I can't take that blender apart. So I have to figure something out with that. So the big blenders are for chopping, and then the small bullet-sized, smoothie-sized one is for getting a smooth consistency because garlic scapes are pretty tough, and you want to try to get it as blended as well as possible. So this is the first thing we're trying. I've done both ways, either scooping out like this or using ice cube trays. And if you do it this way, you have to use as little water as possible when blending. You have to use some water to get the blend happening, but as little as possible. And you'll see why here in a sec. So that's going to go in the freezer, and now that they've been unfrozen, you can see how much liquid is there, and that's why this isn't the best method. I spent not much money on these little ice cube trays you can see there. They're very worth it when it comes to preserving stuff. So we're going to do it the other way, the better way. Starting now, you'll see, cut them into small pieces, put water in the blender, however much water you want to put in the blender, because now we're using the ice cube trays, so it don't matter. And my knives are not sharp enough to cut through the scapes, and I remember that last year. So we're using scissors for all of it. Cut it into small pieces. While we're doing this, we have the bullet blender blending for us, so we have one thing going while we're prepping the next, and get this blender filled up with a whole bunch of small pieces of garlic scape, and however much water is needed to make the blending process happen. and I had about almost 3-gallon freezer bags worth of garlic scapes once I kind of like bent them and smushed them into the bag. So it's pretty good. At the end, you'll see how much we end up with, and it's like a year's supply of garlic alone in just scapes, so that's great. So big blender is chopping up, small blender, the bullet got it nice and fine and mushed up for us, and we're just gonna smooth it into the trays. Try not to make them too full. And I splattered on the cabinet there. In case you're wondering what that is, that's just garlic splatter. So we just continue the process, blend in the big, smooth in the small, pour into these trays and smooth it out. And we'll stick it in the freezer here in just a sec. Got our last little bit here going in. We want to get every last little bit, so I'm scraping this out with my hand, scrape out the lid. So you can do either, you can do it however you want to, but this is the easiest way. Cutting into small pieces, blending in one, and then getting a smoother blend in another. And then ice cube trays. Stick it in the freezer. See, it's steaming. Hopefully you can see that. At this point, the motor for the blender is so hot that it actually started to cook the garlic. You can see it's like a different color and texture a little bit. It was not sizzling, but it was steamy and fragrant at that point. So the motor was definitely ready to be done for the day. So we'll stick it in the freezer just like this. This freezer is a deep freezer I usually use for like garden stuff, as you can see, and a pizza in there. So now it's the next day now. Everything's frozen. My dishes aren't done, as you can see, because I can't fit 3 blenders and everything else in one dishwasher load. So I will get to it when I get to it. And Lucas is shedding, so the dog hair on the floor is crazy. If you noticed that it's just the dog shedding and I had to clean the floors. So my hands are like super cold even through these gloves. It's like, oh, this is like frost biting my fingers. And I just use that pant tray, whatever, to drop them into, and they won't come out on their own, so loosen them with a little bit of warm water and they pop right out. So this was a pretty easy process once I remembered and got the hang of it. You don't want to make them too warm. You don't want them to melt, and we want to go as fast as possible, because as soon as these start melting, they will be very hard to break up whenever you want to go use them later. So we want them to keep their individual form. That way they're easy to just grab out of the bag real quick and not be all stuck together. So we definitely have a year's supply and plenty to share, and I use these in my cooking just like I do garlic bulbs. Just use it the same way. These are very good and very potent, and they taste just like a garlic head. And here's what we got. 2 1/3 bag. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope this was helpful to you. I'll pop up some videos for you to watch, and have a wonderful day. Bye.